Hello students, today in your geometry class we're going to be working on inverses, contrapositives, and indirect reasoning. Now at the end of this lesson you should be able to determine the differences in inverses, contrapositive, and indirect reasoning. So just to start, the book did a really good job of explaining the conditional, negation, inverse, and contrapositive. So we're going to look at that table and explain it again a little bit further. Now, a conditional statement is something that we've worked with before in the previous chapter. Now, a conditional statement is a statement that has a if and a then statement. Now, the first portion of this, the if an angle is a straight angle, is called your hypothesis. The then portion, its measure is 180, is also called the conclusion. Now, the symbolic form, or the way you'll see it in later mathematics classes if you take them, is in the symbolic form, which says that P implies Q, where P is the hypothesis and Q is the conclusion. When you read it, it's pronounced if P, then Q. The negation is based off of this conditional statement. Now, negation just means we're going to take the statement and negate it, or we're going to make it the negative, or we're going to make it the opposite. So the easiest way to do that is to throw in the word not. So an angle is not a straight angle is the negation for an angle is a straight angle. Okay, and we're going to practice this a little bit more. For example, if our statement is it is hot today, the negation would then be it is not hot today. So notice the only thing that changed from the statement to the negation is that we added the word not. So should be fairly simple. Now an inverse is based off of our conditional statement. Now in our conditional statement we have our if statement, and then we have our then statement, our hypothesis, then our conclusion. In an inverse statement, the only thing that differs from the conditional to the inverse is that we negate both statements. So if you'll notice, the conditional statement says if an angle is a straight angle. The inverse starts with if an angle is not a straight angle. Then our conditional ends with then its measure is 180. Our inverse is then its measure is not 180. So notice how it's the same exact thing as our conditional, but we add not to both the hypothesis and the conclusion. So the symbolic form, if you'll notice, between the conditional to the inverse is exactly the same, but we throw this negation sign, or the tilde. And it's read, if not P, then not Q. The contrapositive is a switch or a reversal of the inverse statement. It's the same exact words, but we reverse the if and then statements. So notice how, and I'll underline this in red, if an angle is not a straight angle, if we look at that on the inverse, then if we compare that to the contrapositive, if an angle is not a straight angle, then if we look at the contrapositive, it says it also, but it says it as the conclusion and not the hypothesis. Then if we look at the inverse for the second portion, which is its measure is not 180, the contrapositive starts with an angle's measure is not 180. Again, I know this might seem weird, but we will do a couple more examples. So, example 1, it is hot outside. The negation again, it is not hot outside. Same exact statement, but we added the not portion of this. Now, example 2 is a little bit more complex. It says that we have the conditional, they want us to write the inverse and the contrapositive. Now what I've done here is I've written this statement separately. So if triangle ABC is equilateral, then it is an isosceles. So here's how we do it. The if statements, they don't change. They'll continue to be in the same exact spots. So we're going to take if and then, and we're going to bring it down, as well as the comma. Now, it says triangle ABC is equilateral. Now notice, we're going to copy it, and the only thing we're going to do to it is add the word not. So let me do a quick adjustment here. So notice how the only thing we did is added the word not, and then it is isosceles. We're going to duplicate that, and you're absolutely right. We're going to add the word not in there as well. So that's how we do an inverse statement. It's the same exact thing, but we add the word not. Now, cool thing is for inverse and contrapositive, very similar. If and then statements don't change. Those go in the same exact spots. Comma will still be there. Here's where it differs. Then it is not isosceles. Instead of being at the back end or in the conclusion, we're going to put it right in the beginning. And we're going to take our statement from the inverse, duplicate it, and put it right on the tail end. And that's how we go from a conditional to an inverse to a contrapositive. Let's try another example. It says, if it is hot outside, then you are in California. Now this time we're not going to do all this duplication. We're going to create the inverse from scratch. Now, again, if doesn't change. So if it is not hot outside, then you are not in California. So notice, we read through the conditional, we negated both statements, and that's how we do the inverse. To do the contrapositive, we switch the order. So again, we start with if, and instead of starting with it is not hot outside, we're going to start with if you are not in California, then it is not hot outside. And that's it. So now it's your turn. I want you to take the conditional statement, if it is wet outside, then it is raining. Then I want you to post problems 1 and 2 to Edmodo. First we'll post, everyone else will just reply. Problem 1 is asking you to write the inverse, and problem 2 is asking you to write the contrapositive for the same conditional statement. That's it for now. I'll see you guys next time.